When Jin, the eldest member of BTS, first began his journey as a solo artist, some international critics and even a few collaborators reportedly underestimated his potential. To them, Jin was simply the visual member of a global pop phenomenon, a handsome face with a polite smile, not necessarily someone they expected to redefine vocal artistry or emotional storytelling. But in 2025, that perception has changed completely. Today, global media, producers, and artists across continents refer to Jin as a creative force, a singer, songwriter, and performer who embodies the rare combination of elegance, discipline, and raw emotion. The turning point came after Jin's breathtaking performances of The Astronaut and Yours, songs that not only showcased his vocal range, but also revealed a depth of sincerity that few in the industry could match. His tone, delicate yet commanding, resonated with listeners around the world. Critics from Rolling Stone described his voice as the sound of honesty, while the New York Times called his emotional delivery cinematic and transcendent. What once was seen as a quiet presence within BTS has now evolved into a magnetic artistry that commands respect across the global music scene. Sources inside the music industry revealed that a number of producers who once overlooked Jin's creative ideas during early BTS sessions later reached out to him after the success of his solo works. One American producer admitted anonymously, "I didn't realize how sharp his musical instincts were. He hears things differently, like he sees music as color, as emotion. He's not chasing trends, he's creating feelings." Even some celebrities who had worked with Jin in the past were reportedly taken aback by how seamlessly he transitioned into a solo powerhouse. During his collaboration with Coldplay's Chris Martin, insiders recalled that Jin's work ethic and musical intuition left a lasting impression on the British frontman. Martin himself praised Jin publicly, calling him a pure soul and a true artist. What began as a single collaboration between two global acts turned into a lifelong friendship based on mutual respect. Over time, Jin's artistry has also silenced those who doubted his global appeal. After his Run Seokjin EP tour became one of the top 20 highest-grossing concert tours in the world according to Pollstar, American journalists began describing him as Asia's quiet revolution in pop culture. His ability to fill arenas in both Asia and the West without gimmicks or controversy stunned the Western entertainment industry. Billboard noted that Jin's tour was a masterclass in emotional intimacy, proving that authenticity could be just as powerful as spectacle. Fashion critics joined the chorus of praise after his stunning appearance at Milan Fashion Week, where Vogue Italia dubbed him the embodiment of sophistication and sincerity. His dual success in both fashion and music earned him comparisons to icons like David Bowie and Prince, artists who blurred the line between art and identity. American fashion editors called him a walking renaissance, while others claimed his quiet elegance redefined how global masculinity is represented in media. Now, the same voices that once dismissed Jin as just another idol are calling him a genius. His evolution from underrated vocalist to cultural powerhouse has become one of the most inspiring narratives in modern entertainment. Music critics have noted that Jin didn't need controversy, shock tactics, or social media theatrics to rise to the top. Instead, he built his reputation through consistency, empathy, and an unwavering dedication to artistry. Today, American and European outlets alike celebrate him as the blueprint for global stardom, an artist who bridges East and West with effortless grace. A recent article in Variety summarized it best: Jin didn't change to fit the industry changed to recognize him. As Jin continues to expand his creative universe through fashion, music, and philanthropy, one thing has become clear: those who once underestimated him now see him as one of the most important cultural figures of his generation. What was once doubt has turned into awe, and the world, it seems, can't stop watching him prove it again and again. In the months following Jin's historic achievements, his transformation from an underrated idol to a universally acclaimed artist has become one of the most talked about stories in the global entertainment industry. Western journalists have begun referring to him as the silent architect of BTS's legacy, a title that encapsulates both his humility and his lasting influence on the group's identity. While many artists struggle to reinvent themselves after years in a globally dominant band, Jin's solo evolution has been nothing short of revolutionary, graceful, calculated, and deeply authentic. American entertainment networks like E! News and Access Hollywood have aired multiple features about his rise, often contrasting how Jin's steady approach to fame differs from the volatility of Western celebrity culture. In an era dominated by constant noise, scandal, and oversharing, Jin's calm demeanor and genuine artistry stand out as a refreshing contrast. His ability to remain private yet deeply connected with fans has led to what The Guardian calls a modern form of stardom, one that thrives on sincerity rather than spectacle. The impact of his artistry has even extended beyond music and fashion. In Hollywood, several directors have reportedly expressed interest in working with Jin for international film soundtracks and even acting roles. A senior executive from Universal Pictures was quoted in Deadline Hollywood saying, "Jin has the rare ability to hold the camera without saying a word. That's not acting, that's presence. He doesn't have to perform to be magnetic." Industry insiders believe that if Jin chooses to expand into film, he could become one of the few Asian artists capable of achieving crossover success on par with global cinema legends. Yet despite the surge of attention, Jin remains grounded. When asked during a post-tour interview about his reaction to international praise, he responded simply, "I'm just grateful that people feel something from what I do. That's the only reason I ever wanted to make music." His humility continues to charm both fans and critics, reinforcing his image as a genuine artist who places emotion above ego. Even among other idols, Jin's reputation has evolved dramatically. Members of BTS themselves have expressed admiration for how gracefully he's managed his solo career. Jungkook, in a recent interview, said, "Jin Hyung works harder than anyone I know. When people see him laugh, they don't realize how much effort goes behind that smile." RM echoed the sentiment, praising Jin's ability to lead with heart, while V described him as the perfect example of timeless confidence. In America, major publications have started listing Jin among the top global cultural influencers of the decade. Forbes US included him in its top 50 most impactful musicians of 2025, highlighting his dual success in both entertainment and brand economics. According to data from Business Insider, Jin's collaborations with luxury brands such as Gucci, Maison Fred, and Lucido L collectively generated over $100 million in marketing exposure within a single year, a feat unmatched by any other K-pop soloist. Critics attribute this success to what they call the Jin effect. His unique appeal lies in how he combines sophistication with warmth. Unlike other high-profile celebrities, Jin's charm doesn't rely on shock or dominance. It's rooted in emotional intelligence. When fans see him walk the runway, sing on stage, or appear in interviews, they sense an authenticity that's rare in the entertainment world. The Los Angeles Times described it as the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't need to prove he belongs, because he already does. Interestingly, several of the same Western musicians and producers who once dismissed Jin as too polite or too quiet are now seeking collaborations with him. Sources from Billboard revealed that American artists have reached out through Big Hit's global office, hoping to feature him on cross-genre projects. One insider said, "People in the US are finally realizing what fans knew all along. Jin's artistry isn't loud, but it's unforgettable." His achievements have also sparked a wider cultural conversation about the perception of Asian male artists in Western entertainment. Cultural critics at Variety and The Atlantic noted that Jin's rise represents a shift in how global audiences define masculinity, elegance, and power. He embodies strength through serenity, proving that true influence doesn't require aggression, it requires grace. As of late September 2025, Jin's name continues to dominate global headlines. His Milan Fashion Week appearance, his Polestar ranking, and his rumored future collaborations have positioned him as one of the most influential figures of his generation. In online discussions, fans describe him as the standard of global stardom, while American journalists call him the man redefining fame itself. And perhaps the most remarkable part of Jin's story is how he achieved it all, without ever raising his voice, without scandal, and without losing himself. In a world obsessed with speed and chaos, Jin's calm has become his revolution. From being underestimated to becoming a global phenomenon, his journey stands as living proof that quiet power is often the strongest kind. As the Washington Post recently wrote in its feature titled, "The Art of Stillness in a Noisy World," Jin BTS reminds us that the loudest statement an artist can make is not always through words or noise, but through grace, and the world is finally listening. The resonance of Jin's journey continues to ripple through global entertainment, reshaping how the world perceives success, artistry, and authenticity in an age of fleeting fame. In the United States, where celebrity culture often thrives on chaos and scandal, Jin's ascent has become an anomaly, a quiet revolution led not by provocation, but by purpose. American journalists have started to call him the gold standard of modern stardom, a title that once seemed reserved for legends like Beyoncé or Harry Styles. Yet Jin, without controversy or sensationalism, has managed to stand shoulder to shoulder with the world's most influential names. At the heart of this admiration lies his ability to connect across boundaries: linguistic, cultural, and emotional. Western media analysts have repeatedly emphasized how Jin's performances carry a sense of universality. The New Yorker described his presence on stage as transcending translation, explaining that his emotions, sorrow, joy, nostalgia, speak to something instinctively human. A writer for Pitchfork noted, "When Jin sings, it's not Korea reaching out to the world, it's humanity reaching back to itself." That poetic observation has become emblematic of how Jin is viewed, not merely as a K-pop idol, but as a cultural figure whose sincerity bridges nations. Back home in Seoul, even industry veterans have taken notice of the global echo Jin has created. Former producers, journalists, and stylists who worked with him during BTS's early years recall that Jin was always the one who stayed after rehearsals, perfecting vocal inflections or studying emotional cues in his lyrics. He wasn't loud about his ambitions. One former Big Hit staff member told Dispatch Korea, "He was just consistent. Every day, he worked like he was preparing for the biggest moment of his life, and now he's living it." In Europe, particularly in France and Italy, Jin's recent appearances at Gucci's The Tiger premiere have solidified his position as an international fashion icon. Le Figaro in Paris referred to him as le visage de la nouvelle élégance asiatique, the face of new Asian elegance, while Vogue Italia praised his princely calm and luminous charisma. The imagery surrounding him, his white silk shirt unbuttoned just enough to reveal a glinting silver chain, his subtle smile under the Milan lights, became a viral symbol of understated luxury. Within 24 hours, clips of his red carpet walk had accumulated over 15 million views on TikTok, surpassing even global A-listers who attended the same event. But beneath the glamour lies the reason Jin's appeal feels so enduring. He represents the rare alignment of humility and excellence. American commentators have repeatedly pointed out that his personality is as captivating as his artistry. Vanity Fair wrote, "There's something profoundly disarming about Jin's confidence. It doesn't need validation. He shines without demanding the spotlight." That very humility has made him one of the most respected figures in entertainment, admired by peers across industries. One particularly telling example came from a recent roundtable of U.S. entertainment executives hosted by Billboard. When asked which Asian artist has the greatest potential for long-term global influence, the majority named Jin. He has the presence of a Hollywood star, the discipline of a classical musician, and the emotional intelligence of a poet, said one producer. He's what the future of celebrity looks like. Another added that Jin's success challenges the Western stereotype of fame being tied to constant exposure. He's proof that mystery can be magnetic. Fans, meanwhile, have embraced this era of Jin's career as his golden chapter. Across X, formerly Twitter, hashtags like #JinGlobalIcon and #Seokjin trend regularly, filled with fans posting concert clips, interviews, and editorial spreads. Many fans describe his success as a personal victory, a moment of validation after years of hearing him labeled just the visual. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. He was never just a face. He was the foundation. What's perhaps most fascinating is how even the celebrities who once worked with Jin and may have underestimated him have begun to publicly express admiration. During a segment on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, the host praised Jin's Milan appearance, saying, "He's not just worldwide handsome anymore, he's worldwide powerful." The comment drew laughter from the audience, but the sentiment was sincere. Fallon's admiration reflects a broader shift in Hollywood, where Jin is now regarded not just as a musician, but as a standard of professionalism and grace. In a recent feature, Entertainment Weekly analyzed Jin's meteoric rise, concluding that his success represents a changing of the guard in global pop culture. The new icons of this generation aren't those who shout the loudest, the article read. They are the ones who make silence feel significant. Jin is one of them. Meanwhile, Korean economists have started to document the measurable impact of Jin's global influence. A report from the Korea Economic Daily estimated that Jin's activities in 2025, ranging from music to endorsements, generated an estimated $250 million in combined global brand exposure. That figure rivals entire entertainment conglomerates, underscoring how one artist's authenticity can evolve into an economic force. Despite these staggering numbers, Jin continues to express gratitude rather than pride. During a short airport interview after returning from Milan, when asked about being called the most influential soloist in K-pop, he simply smiled and said, "I just hope I'm making ARMY proud." That simple statement went viral across platforms, proof, once again, that his quiet sincerity carries more weight than the loudest headlines. As the year draws to a close, one thing has become increasingly clear. Jin is not just living history, he's shaping it. From Seoul to Milan, from Polestar charts to fashion runways, his journey represents the evolution of global artistry in real time. In the words of a Los Angeles Times editorial that captured his essence perfectly, Jin BTS isn't chasing the world. The world is finally catching up to him.